Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning into the Financial Investor channel. My name is Brent, and today we're going to be doing our weekly recap for June 18th through the 22nd. Not so amazing week this week. Trade war still out there. Some of the stocks are getting hammered due to it. Some of the transportation industrial stocks. We're going to cover some of that. We're going to go start over with our four major indexes, the S&P 500, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and the Russell 2000. Go over some stock futures, what it's looking like right now going into Monday, some stocks that had some movement in the after hours, what was posted over on Facebook, and some stocks that were on the news this week. So we had, Intel getting downgraded, Fox, Comcast, and what's the other one there? Disney, that love-hate relationship there. Disney, I think, has won the bet, even though Comcast offered even higher. We have banking moving down, our financials, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan losing some more market share there. We have a couple other stocks here that we'll discuss. I have them all in my tabs. So we're going to go through, talk about each stock individually, end it with oil, silver, bonds, and construction. So that's basically it. If you are brand new to my channel, I do make stock market, real estate, investment style videos weekly. So consider subscribing. Hit the notification button to be notified of all new content coming out weekly. So let's go ahead and get started. S&P 500 down 0.89% over the 5-day change the week. 3 out of the 5 days in the negative, up only 3.04% year to date. This is your third place behind the NASDAQ and the Russell. Dow Jones, 4 out of the 5 days in the negative, 5-day change down 2.03%. I think the Dow Jones is going to be definitely hit the hardest due to trade wars, just due to some of the stocks that are in there that are more international and have a lot of imports, such as Boeing, Caterpillar, Apple out of China and stuff like that. So year to date down 0.56%. This is one that, they had just came out of the hole. They were back in the positive. They lost 2%. Now they're back down, by 0.5% there. So Dow Jones is your loser right now as far as indexes go. NASDAQ up 11.44% year to date. This is your winner so far. 5-day change down 0.69. Some stocks out there, semiconductors didn't do so hot. Intel got downgraded. AMD coming out with some new market share. It's taking more of their product. They're getting more of their products out there in front of the consumers. And while I thought AMD may have ended up positive, they actually did have a little bit of a pullback this week. And the Russell 2000 5-day change up 0.10%, 3 out of the 5 days positive. Year-to-date change, 9.77%. I believe the Russell 2000 will begin to kind of balance itself out with the NASDAQ. I don't think it would take something big to pull back the NASDAQ, but I think the Russell 2000 will remain in second place for the remainder of the year. It's more centralized to United States investing, and I believe a lot of the international stocks, people are going to be pulling money out of Dow Jones, S&P 500 stocks that are dealing outside of the States, and put them into these smaller cap stocks that have room to grow and that are more stateside oriented. After our looks, we have stock futures in the S&P 500 looking positive, NASDAQ looking some negative, and the Dow Jones looking positive as well. After this week's negative in there in the Dow Jones, it's to be expected. Paychecks, similar to ADP. I own ADP and Paychecks. They're both payroll. They do a human resource payroll style company. Very good movement here in the after hours, up to 2.5% there. A couple other stocks here, not really familiar. Besides Seagate here, down 8%, but nothing really crazy there. I like to look for semiconductors and financial stocks, so not too much there that'll affect the S&P 500 and the market started on Monday. Here in the market watch here in the after hours, we have Comcast. So they had that bidding war with Disney and Comcast. Disney had that $50 billion offer. Comcast came out with a $60. I think it was either $65 billion last week, and that was a bid. And then Disney came back out this week and re-announced that they're going to be offering $71.3 billion. And I believe Fox accepted that one, but Comcast did offer more, around the $80 billion offer. But Disney has decided to kind of settle and Fox has decided to go with the Disney. I think that was a better move there. And a couple other stocks here. We have Rite Aid, Verizon moving up slightly in the after hours. Microsoft, General Electric continuing to, kind of. I think they had. I don't know if I looked. I don't think that one's here in my recap. I know Apple fell by quite a bit this week, nearly down 2.0908%, something like that. I know my portfolio and my IRA is a lot of Apple. So Monday we had that AMD Intel, where Intel could see some pains as AMD gained some manufacturing. They're getting more of their market share away from Intel. Intel was downgraded due to that. Biggest news on Tuesday was the whole Trump escalates China trade war, threatens tariffs on $200 billion of products. GE on Wednesday booted out of the Dow in the future. They're not yet. They're still, if you look at the Dow Jones here, you're still going to see General Electric here. I don't believe they've set a date for when they're supposed to go, but people on the Facebook chat, on the groups that I'm involved in, they're always talking about General Electric. Is it a great buy? Is it not a great buy? I thought that was an interesting and fun little meme. Old GE, take them out. And I did a recording, didn't have the mic on. Fox, after the Comcast announcement on their bid, went out by 7%. And then again, Disney coming back out with a higher offer. Wednesday, we also did our stocks with ex dividends next week. We had 11 stocks. One of them, ticker symbol LECO. This is the Lincoln Electric Holdings, had 14 years of increasing their dividends. They were one of the ones over the 10 years. Century Fox agrees from the higher offer from Disney, so that $71 billion in cash and stock offer definitely is going to win it there. And I think that was one of their smarter deals. And that is basically all that I mainly posted over on Facebook. So as you know, Intel got downgraded. This was on Monday. They had that big decrease of nearly 3.5% down. Continue into Tuesday, and you can see Thursday another bit down here. 5-day change, 4.74%. Intel, I think they're still a great stock. They're still up quite a bit year to date. I don't see AMD coming in there and just knocking Intel completely out of there. I have a Ryzen 1700X card in my computer, and I only decided to go with it because it was half the price of basically the same speeds and core and everything else that the Intel was, half the price, and it worked out. So, I think AMD is going to continue. I think they're both great chip makers, and Intel, they're another products. They're not going to go anywhere. If company-wise, corporate-wise, infrastructure-wise, people will always, I believe, will choose Intel over AMD. They have that history. I know the company I work at, we have Intel inside all of our computers, servers and such. So AMD there, down 3.3%. Year to date, still up 53.7%. Walt Disney, with the whole offering with Fox and Comcast, they have some 5-day change of down 2.31%. This could be a great buying opportunity. I know recently they have gone up by quite a bit here. You can see back in early June 2018, they were right at that $100 point, actually below. I think they were at $98, $99. Now they've came up slightly at $106.34. So, after the acquisition does take place, I do believe, due to the way that they're going to give in them stocks and money, that they are going to have a little bit of a decrease short term as they take on that debt and such, and there's more shares going out there, but we shall see. Fox, of course, getting in on that news with the announcement of, Comcast offering and Disney reoffering. They're up 8.84% this week. Year to date, up 40.78%. Apple taking a dive this week, 2.08%. This is trade war related. There was a rumor going around that Apple was going to be exempt from the trades, from the importing, tariff talk on imports from China. The actual staff themselves said, no, that's not true. We're going to continue. We're going to still tariff Apple products just the same on, that came out on Tuesday. Caused their stock to come down by over 1.5 points. Try to recover it on Wednesday and just didn't go anywhere. So by the end of the week, they were down 2.08%. Still good. Year to date, up 9.27% this week. Netflix continuing to make all-time highs. I don't think we have the all-time highs here, but they hit all-time highs again this week before coming back down. They are up 4.88%. I don't know how Netflix is going to continue this whole trend. They're up 114.15% year to date. Even their CEO has sold some of their stocks. I'm not sure on the number. I don't think I have that here in my notes. Netflix. No, I just have CEO sold some shares. So here, CEO Reed Hastings. Okay, he sold 33.1 million of the shares of Netflix. So that could be a potential flag. Even one of the CEOs is saying that the stock, what kind of competitor is Netflix out there? There's quite a bit of competitors out there. Netflix not being profitable, I think we may see that one sink there. I don't know. I honestly don't know what will go on with Netflix. Oh, okay, so I do have General Electric in there. So I have this in here because on Wednesday, it was announced that Walgreens is going to be taking the place of General Electric within the Dow Jones. So I think it was either Wednesday after hours, or you can see the biggest hit here was actually down on Tuesday, but I know it was sometime this week it was announced that Walgreens is going to be taking the place of GE and the Dow Jones. So GE down 1.88%. Not, it's not unexpected. Year to date down 25.21%. I don't know who's holding on to this long term. This would be one I would have cut long ago after seeing its financial metrics. It's just been tumbling down year over year for the last 10 years. Walgreens here up 5-day change up 2.75%. Year to date still down 6.9%. Starbucks announced earlier, in the week that they're going to be closing 150 stores. Their stock moved down 5-day by 10.28%. So they're also trying to kind of transition. So I'm not sure whether they're closing their stores because they opened up so many and the economy can't handle, people aren't buying the $5-6 coffees anymore, or if this is just something that they're kind of cut down on specific ones. I know Starbucks, I could type in Starbucks into Google and there would be like 5-10 within 10 minutes drive. I can get to quite a few here in my area. So Starbucks year to date down 10.78%. So some of the stocks that were affected by the trade wars that I was able to notice that I was kind of looking at was CSX. This is a transportation company. We had Boeing, which was up nearly 25% about a year ago. You can see here that they're at $370. I know people in the dividend channels that I'm in on Facebook and other places that we talk with dividend investors at, people were buying into Boeing, say, hey, it's an industrial transportation stock. It's been skyrocketing crazy over the past, going into the year, with defense going up, the whole thing with North Korea earlier this year and China and stuff like that. So people were buying into it while others were saying, hold off, relax. But you can see here for the week down 5.3%. Year to date only up, it's still up 14.92%, which is beating the S&P 500. So still a good buy if you had bought it at the beginning of the year, but you did lose about 10% in the last couple of weeks. eBay. So I'm including some online retail stores. This is due to the Supreme Court overturned a rule that had been in place back since 1992. So this new law allows states to collect sales tax on purchase on businesses that do online sales. If they don't have like a physical presence in the state, then the state is still able to tax you for your sales. So some stocks that were affected this week were eBay down 2.06%. We have Wayfair, which is, this one's actually positive. You can see on Thursday when the news came out and the Supreme Court ruled it out, this is where the stocks kind of got hit the most here. Apparently not here. Oh, that's Boeing. Okay, so back to eBay. So eBay down 3.18% on the news. We had Amazon down a little over a point on Thursday due to the news. Wayfair down 1.6%, and Shopify. This is one I included. It doesn't actually have an online presence, but a lot of people that do online retail use Shopify, the plugin, in order to sell some of their products. So I kind of took a look at it. On Thursday down a little near 4.5 points. Whoop, timer's going off. Supposed to be going to a meeting here soon. But year to date, still up 60.92%. Some stocks that did very well this week that are in retail but more physical were Kroger's. They did some really good earnings. They were higher by almost near 10% after beating earnings. And 5-day change up 14.72%. That would have been a great one to have bought when you saw, they were in the negative. You saw that their financials were good, similar to Walmart and a few other of those physical retail stores. They're making a comeback. And I think we've all kind of noticed that with, what's the other one in the mall that's pretty popular? Macy's and a few others out there. But interesting there. You see online stores kind of come down this week due to that Supreme Court rule, and then some of the physical stores kind of moving into that place. Boeing there, I believe okay. So I skipped over. We have Boeing down 4.3%, 5.3%. We already covered this one. It's way back here. Okay, so Caterpillar also affected by the trade wars, down 6.72%. Year to date, down 11.19%. FedEx down 8.61%. Year to date, down 3.11%. UPS down 2.63%. Year to date, 4.57%. So a lot of transportation, a lot of these stocks that do with industrials and such, they were hammered a little bit. And of course, financials continue to go down. I know a couple other investors out there on YouTube had talked about Goldman Sachs doing great earnings during their past earnings, quarterly earnings, but have just continued to fall down 11.28 year to date. 5-day change up down 2.54%. Same with JP Morgan, down 1.11% year to date. 5-day change down 1.99%. I know there was some news with Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, and Amazon with their healthcare kind of thingy that they're working together on. I believe they had picked somebody that's going to be kind of in charge of that. I don't see it kind of here down here, so I believe that was something that was mentioned. Home construction. So this is something locally. You kind of have to pay attention to your local market. I'm on Facebook. I am following real estate agent groups within my area. I'm also following some real estate groups that are outside of my area. So some of the agents within Southern Oregon, where I'm located, they have kind of discussed that here in the month of June and May, where sales are normally at their peak, houses that are at their highest point of worth and people are just buying and selling and doing a lot of that. They've noticed that the offers coming in have actually decreased. People aren't offering as much anymore. They're not getting as many offers as they are. Inventory is starting to slightly increase. Of course, rates are going up 0.25%. That's going to decrease what people are able to get in and buy. If you go to a lender and you're able to afford a $300,000 home, but then rates go up by 0.25%, your loan value of what you were able to actually borrow for what your debt ratio is probably decreased by roughly 10%. So instead of having $300,000, you only have $270,000 to buy into a home. So you're losing some of your ability to get in on a higher priced home as rates are increasing. Oil. I may have skipped over my ticker symbol. Okay. I was reading on oil on Friday. OPEC strike deal to increase productions. They're going to be increasing productions by as much as 20%. This is going to help bring down the prices of oil sales. That's spiked here in California and Oregon as well. We've seen prices way into the $3.50. I don't know much about outside of the West Coast area, but they're going to be ramping up production. That should help bring down some of the oils. Oil, of course, benefited from that. 5-day change up 7.43%. Year to date, oil 16.74%. That's a very nice change right there. I think that's very interesting that they're going to be ramping up production. Silver and gold continue to be one of those unloved childs. You can see silver down 3.06% year to date. 5-day change down 0.64. Also, gold down 0.82%. Year to date down 2.68%. I think people are less interested in gold and silver and more interested in that bond yield, Bond yield currently is around 2.9%. I believe sometime during the week it was at 2.9699, and bonds are getting bought. If you follow the bond market, you can watch when people are making large bond purchases. You can see that the purchases if you follow in the charts. But here we have the treasury yields. The 10-year is at a 2.9% right now. 30 years at a 3%, but nobody wants to lock their money away for 30 years. Whereas a 10-year at 3%, that may look really nice for someone that's looking to retire soon or just having some safe money sitting around that's still beating inflation out. You're still making some profits on your money. And here we have our rate hikes up. So we've actually right at that 5% threshold where interest rates are at 5% instead of at 4.75%. So here we're talking about you're losing your ability to go out there and buy a more expensive home just because you're not able to get, long-term wise, you're not able to afford it. So I think that was all that I was watching on here. And that is everything I wanted to cover in this video. So that is it. If you guys have enjoyed the recap, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if there's anything you'd like have added to these videos or discussed on these videos. I always like to cover the foreign major indexes. I like to go over news, stocks that were big on the news this week. So of course, Intel and Disney and Fox and Comcast, and then some of those retail, with the Supreme Court getting new law enacted and such, and online stores. So that's basically it. If you are brand new to the channel, remember to like, comment, subscribe. Even if you aren't new to the channel, remember to do all of that. And as a friendly disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor or tax professional. The information provided is my opinion for entertainment and fun. This is not investment advice. This is just me as a financial investor myself, trying to help others make their money work for them. So thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.